How much does it cost to send and receive post from the UK and to Bulgaria? How much does building work cost? And is it really cheap or expensive to have animals and livestock here? We're going to tell you all of the answers to these questions and more in this week's video, so make sure that you like and subscribe, and let's find out the answers to those questions. Okay, so a few of you asking to do an updated cost of living video for 2025. So we're here in our local town of Strajice, and we don't now often go to Lidl or Kaufland in the cities. We stay at the local shops in the town. So I want to show you what the...
It's probably more representative of the actual cost rather than going to Lidl and Kaufland, which is way overpriced.
Yeah, so this is what we would normally buy for 1 week's worth of shopping for a family of 4.
Four, five, like that. Yeah, use them for salads mainly. We can't get in Burlex, we get in the DD market next door, which has a few different things as well. We've done the shopping and we're now just going to stop for a little bite to eat and some coffee. How much was it? $14.70 for the 2 bowls of chips, 2 orange juices, 1 Coca-Cola and a
espresso. So for our weekly shop, we went to Burlex and spent $116.84. And then we spent $55.55 in DD Market. The overall total was $172.39 for our weekly shop.
It's in my blood. It's in my blood. I need a discount.
And of course you've got to treat yourself to a carbonitzer at the end of shopping. I think these are, that one's 1 lev something, 1 lev 29 I think. And this one's about similar, about 1 or 2 lev. It's about 80p or something like that for a little car snack, little treat. Okay, so groceries and shopping tends to cost us around about 150 to 200 lev per week. That's if we're just doing a regular shop and we're not buying staples in the cupboard. So of course we get big bulk bags of rice. Sometimes we have to buy olive oil, and on those weeks the shopping is a little bit more expensive. We did do a little bit of shopping at Kaufland just so that we could show the comparison of what some of the prices are like. And of course, it is a lot more expensive there. We do tend to shop in Strajice, which is our local town. We try to go to the markets, and generally the cost of things is quite low there. But we do have a Lidl that's nearby. So when we can, we go and we bulk buy stuff at Lidl. So what is it like to send and receive parcels in Bulgaria? Well, to receive stuff, it can be quite expensive from the UK. A good example for us is the year before last at Christmas, Anthony's mum sent us a big box, and it was probably about 10 kilos, 15 kilos of presents and things like that. Maybe it's even more than that, maybe 15, 20 kilos. And that cost us about £25 to receive it. We had to pay the customs to have it imported.
and I think it cost them about £40 to send. So it is quite expensive to do it that way if you're sending stuff from the UK to Bulgaria. Sending stuff from Bulgaria to the UK is also equally a little bit expensive. You can use Speedy, which is the DHL service here in Bulgaria. So the prices are a little bit higher, but it is very reliable. I can only speak from experience, and we have experienced Speedy. Econt, which is kind of a little bit like Every in the UK, except it's good. Econt is amazing, or Econt as they say in Bulgaria. And you can purchase things and send between people in Bulgaria very easily, very cheap, and it's quite convenient.
So this next part is about cars and driving here and the costs. So there's the main things you need, obviously, to be able to have your car on the road, and that's your MOT, which is the CAT, and we believe that's about 30 lev, maybe 20 lev. We haven't actually put a vehicle through. We're going to be doing that next month. Insurance, with our little Ford Fiesta, which is I think a 1.6 litre, that is 288 lev for the entire year. So that's 120, 130 pounds for the entire year, which is insane. Our van costs were like 116 pounds every month just to have that on the road, which was crazy. Your tax, which you actually pay with your house tax once a year. You pay your house tax, which includes any vehicles that are registered to you. And honestly, I think it's like 16, 17 lev for the entire year of tax. You'll understand if you've driven on the roads that they patch holes here and there. Actually, you do get some really nice little stretches of road and you're like, oh, this is beautiful. This is what my 16 lev went towards. Yeah, it's nothing. It's so unbelievably small. So when it comes to fuel, you need that to run your vehicle. So our little Ford Fiesta is a petrol, and it's 100 lev will fill up the tank. So 42 quid to fill up your tank. I feel like in England, I put 40 quid worth of petrol in my car and I was like, oh, brilliant. I've got, 3 bars or, a third of a tank. It felt like I didn't want to go to the petrol station. But when I'm here, I'm like, it doesn't matter. Chuck 50 lev in, it's 20 quid and I've got half a tank.
Now we're going to talk a little bit about renovation costs. I'm going to let Anthony give you his side of things because he's the one that tends to go to the hardware stores and the merchants to see what we need and buy materials. And we're also going to go to our friends at Creamstone Farm because Paul is busy ripping out the ceiling and renovating his living room at the moment. So he's going to let us know what his opinion is about renovation costs in Bulgaria.
Some of the materials we've bought since we've been here are wood. Like when I built the beds, I got some 2x4 and that was maybe 7 lev, maybe 6 or 7 lev for a bit of 2x4. Like when I go to buy materials, I feel like I'm always pleasantly surprised, because we've done renovation in England as well, and I was always dreading. I'd go to B&Q and walk out and be like, oh my God, just put that on the credit card, please. Yeah, it was always. Whereas here, I feel like we've had so many other costs, which meant we haven't got any spare money, but it's not like if we need to do something, the actual cost of that isn't that high. So like we bought a window, which was, made to the size that we needed to go in our bathroom. And that was 170 lev for a double glazed, brand new brown PVC window, which I think is really good. You can get all of your windows done, and they basically tear them out, put the new ones in, and again don't charge that much. The only downside to that is I do believe that they just take out whatever's coming out. They pull the window, and if it's going to pull plaster and stuff, that's going to happen. Everyone says they leave it in a bit of a mess, but it's a lot cheaper than England. But wood, screws, screws and nails. I don't buy nails. Screws, they don't feel too different in price to England, maybe slightly cheaper, but they don't feel, I don't feel like I'm saving loads of money. I still look at the packet of 100 or 250 of them, and I'm like, yeah, it's still, it's still a bit of money to get those things. So like when we rewired the house, I did it as cheap as possible. I was like, oh, come on, we're going to do everything we can to save money here, safely. I'm not like, yeah, just use one millimeter for everything. It's fine. I did everything as safe as I could with my dad. Everything was done safely, but there's different options. You can buy, the 3-wire in the shield already, or you can buy, piping for it to all go in, which is what I chose because it's a little bit more work, but it's cheaper. And that, to rewire the entire house, I think it was about £90. Got us all the switches and sockets and plugs. And then I think it was about £90. Got us all the switches and sockets and plugs. And then to buy all of the wiring, which I didn't even use all of it, I've still got quite a bit left over, was 400 lev. And the house is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 rooms in total. And rewiring all of those for £90 plus 400 lev is, I think, an absolute bargain. And like a bag of cement is like £3, something along those lines. I know I'm talking in pounds and levs. Sometimes my brain auto switches it to English when it sounds better. When it sounds better to say it in English, I'm like, yeah, it's like £1. It's like 40p. So I can't compare when it comes to like things getting delivered, like sand and cement and things like that. I can't really compare because I never really did that in England, but I got, I think 4 ton, 2 ton, no, it was 3 ton, 3 ton of sand and stone, plus a few, I think it was like five bags of cement, which I ended up running out of and having to get another ton. So it was 4 tons in total for the kitchen floor, and that was about 160 lev to do that. Obviously we bought the mixer and we did all the work ourselves, but that's how much it was. You can let me know if that's cheaper than England, because I really don't know.
So we haven't actually replaced the windows in our place, but Paul has. So we're going to ask him how much it costs.
Windows, I mean, we've done, this one, it's quite a big window. These work out about 300 lev, 350 lev each. They're double glazed, obviously there, and they can tilt as well.
Oh, nice.
So that's supply and fit about 350 lev per unit.
Oh, compared to the UK.
I still think it's much cheaper than the UK. Yes, prices are going up. 4 metre length of 4x2 as we know it in the UK, 4 inches by 2 inches. A 4 metre length here is 11 lev, which is £4.80-ish. So that's cheap. A bag of cement here equates to about £3 English pound. So I'm reading things that building materials are more expensive. I don't believe they are, and I'm twice a week I'm in a builder's merchants. Things are still much cheaper than the UK, without a doubt.
So have you noticed, since when you first bought the property 6 years ago, have you noticed the price difference in those 6 years change much?
Yes, prices in 6 years have definitely gone up. But then prices 6 years ago in the UK, they would have gone up, yeah. and it's the same as everywhere. So yeah, prices have gone up. Property prices have gone right up. But building materials, they are going up, but not a ridiculous amount. It's still very cheap to buy building materials. Sand, cement, windows. I do find paint expensive here. That's one of the things I find.
Yeah, we found that. So overall, it's still cheaper to renovate a property here than it is in the UK?
Absolutely. This property, from what we bought, which was in quite bad shape, we've probably spent in total about 20,000. But a big part of that 20,000, this is 20,000 English pounds, but a big part of that 20,000 was stables, stable area. So if it's just the house, you can still do it for well under 20,000. People will disagree with that, and I've seen things on social media, people disagreeing with that, but you really can do a full renovation for under 20,000 without a doubt.
But I think also the difference is you've done a lot of the work yourself. And I guess those people who are probably arguing are people who are like, oh, you can't get someone else to do that work. You know, if you were paying someone else, then I imagine.
Have you hired workers to do the outside, didn't you? How much did
I've had workers here.
Was it expensive? Did you pay per day or?
I pay, I have in the past, before we lived here, I've paid builders to come in, English folk. The price varies from 120 lev a day up to 200 lev a day. 120 lev was 6 years ago. You know, you can pay, I think, a reasonable price is 180 to 200 lev a day for an English builder. I've had Bulgarians here, they work for much, much cheaper, but that's the sort of price you're looking at. So, you know, between 75 and £100 a day for an English builder, a good builder, a skilled builder.
Take this one from this kitchen.
We use a company, an online company, but they've also got shops called Vidanoff.
Yeah.
One kitchen is works out about 240 English pound. We bought two just so I knew we had enough cupboards. But cheap, very cheap.
Yeah, it's a nice kitchen.
In terms of healthcare, we have a kind of limited scope of opinion on this because our residency has not allowed us to start paying into the national healthcare system here. From what I've been told, it's very cheap, and you can pay, I think, 30 lev a month into the National Healthcare Service so that you can receive healthcare without having to pay high bills for treatments. We have experience going to the doctors here. Anthony went to the hospital for the problem with his eye, and the treatment was fairly affordable. I would say it wasn't too expensive, and the quality of care is really, really good here. So no complaints from us. It's worth every penny if you're paying into it every single month. And honestly, the treatment is not all that expensive. In terms of things like pharmacies, it's quite different out here, actually. So if you go to a pharmacist in England, you can purchase medicines off the shelf. But in Bulgaria, you have to go to the counter and you have to speak to the pharmacist about the problem before you can buy stuff. So a lot of things you can't really just go in and take them off the shelf and purchase them. The pharmacists here, again, are great. We've only had positive experiences. They're really fantastic with the kids and with us. And I would say that buying things like paracetamol and ibuprofen is quite easy to do. It's very similar to the UK and the prices are kind of similar, to be honest. So I know all you animal lovers out there are going to be excited to know, is it affordable to have animals in Bulgaria? Can I get a farm and can I get animals? Yes, I would say it is very affordable to have animals out here, and it's just as well because they're everywhere. Stray dogs are a big problem here in Bulgaria, so when you live here, you probably find yourself collecting them quite quickly. I took Ivy to be sterilised the other week and it was 130 lev for the procedure and the medicines, and I also stocked up on wormers and defleeing medicine for her, and that was 130 lev, which is I think about 60 or 70 pounds, which is really good. We've been quoted 80 lev per cat, which is roughly 40 or 50 pounds. And I think that the level of care, again, is so worth paying for here. You don't have to make appointments. You can just turn up at the vet with your animals, and it's really amazing. In terms of feed, you've probably seen that we have a local feed place in our town of Strazica, and we tend to bulk buy everything when we go there. So we buy the month's worth of food. The most recent purchase was around 100 lev, which is again roughly 40 or 50 pounds, and that bought us 2 10-kilo bags of food for the cats, dry food. We also bought tins of wet food for both cats and dogs, and we also bought chicken feed, 2 bags of chicken granules, which is what they mostly eat, as well as having our scraps from the kitchen. So we have Now we have 2 dogs, we have 3 cats, and we have 6 chickens. So I think that's great, about 40 or 50 pounds per month for all our animals. Up until now, the utility bills here have been really affordable. Up until recently, we were only paying around about 30 or 40 pounds a month for our electricity. Of course, now it's winter, so we're using our heaters a lot more and we're indoors a lot more. So the most recent bill was 300 lev, which is around about 150 pounds. There has been some speculation that the rates have gone up. If you get bills like this, you should investigate it. So we're going to get our representative to go and have a look and see if there is something amiss. But of course, it's winter and bills are much higher. Most recently, with our water, we paid 400 lev because we forgot to pay it for 6 months. 400 lev for 6 months, I think, is pretty good, to be honest. Water is quite cheap. We have to go down to the office to pay it every month. They're okay if we miss it. We missed it for 6 months by accident. So we went down and we paid it in one go. So it's quite affordable, honestly, the water. And most properties have a well. So if you can find yourself a property with a well, then you're winning as well. No pun intended. Okay, something else that we maybe need to answer on is also your mobile phone. Oh, I'm so old. Your mobile phones it's quite cheap to get a SIM card out here and to pay monthly or to pay as you go. We're on a kind of rolling SIM kind of situation where we top it up. Maybe it's pay as you go. I don't know. I asked them for a contract and this is what I got. I'm happy with it. We'll try to find the breakdown of what I've got, but we are with A1 and we pay about 30 lev each per month, which is about 14-15 pounds a month. And sometimes we can go 1 or 2 months without topping it up because we don't really use it. We do use the Wi-Fi, which is 18 lev a month, which is, around about 9 pounds a month. It's amazing. It's unlimited internet and the signal is really, really good. So A1 in this area, near Popovo, near Strazitsa, A1 is really, really good. Finally, I will talk about schooling. So because of our residency situation and because it was completely... So because of our residency situation and the kids are still not official residents yet. They're still waiting for their stamps on their passports, but very soon they will be eligible to apply to go to kindergarten. However, we have decided to home educate. We decided this long before the kids were even born. We had always wanted to do it this way. It works really well for us. The kids are really happy, and we have a little community here of other kids that our children meet up with once a week so that they can socialize with children of all different ages. And we spend around about, so we loosely use a curriculum called Harbour and Sprout. It's fantastic, and we pay around about 20 lev a month for it. The kids do 1 unit per month. We get lots of activity sheets, readings, stuff for literacy and mathematics and all different topics within the unit, so they can learn and they can play and find out cool stuff. We're really happy with the choice to home educate, and if you're interested, then please reach out to us and we can have a chat with you about it. But it's not for everyone, but it really fits our family perfectly. Okay, last but not least, we're going to talk about waste. So waste is a huge issue here. In our local town, they do have recycling bins, so we can take recycling down to the town, but it's 10 minutes drive away. We do have a local bin collection service that comes around. I don't know the day. Our house is so far away from the road that actually we have never had ours collected. I still need to ask when it is and where to put our bin. But the bin truck doesn't come to our house. It's only on the main road. So all of the houses on the main road they leave their bins out all the time. And it comes around once a week to empty all the bins. And that's included within your council tax. I didn't mention council tax before, but it is really, really cheap, and it will make you sick if you live in the UK, because council tax in Bulgaria is very, very low. The first year we paid our council tax, which is actually house tax and car tax, and you also pay for your animals as well. The first year we came, it was 120 lev, which is way over what you should be paying. It's normally 40 or 50 lev, which is around about £20, something like this. It has gone up slightly, but we're expecting to pay around about 70 or 80 lev this year, something like that. It's very, very affordable and honestly so cheap and great.
We have saved so much money on our firewood this year by collecting sticks that we have pruned from our trees, and it means that we haven't actually ordered any wood this year because we used the stuff that we cut down last year, and then we've continued to clear our land and use the wood. So just a little bit of extra work, but it means that we've saved some money.
So we did it. We've just renewed our 1-year residency, which cost 500 lev for Anthony, 150 lev for me, and 150 lev each for the children. So
And then 40 lev each for the actual card.
yeah, so in total it was just maybe around 1,000 lev, which is about
Just over 1,000.
which is just about £500 ish, under £500.
Yeah.
But that's every year. If you're going to do a Visa D, trade representative or something similar, you have to pay that amount every year.
Okay, guys, I hope this has given you some insight into the cost of living here in 2025. Please put your comments below if you have any more questions and you want to know anything about prices here. Yes, the living is cheap here, but life can be really tough and you've got to work hard to enjoy it here. So if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe and we'll see you on the next video.